Welcome to the MetaAI Summit. So, Sharad, this is our baby, right? Our
This is
first project.
fantastic. So a big welcome to everyone from around the world who is joining us today for this first inaugural MetaAI Summit, which we hope will be the first of many that we put together each year to talk about these big ideas. And, by way of introduction, I'm Sharad Devarajan. I'm also an adjunct professor at Columbia Business School, where I teach on virtual reality, artificial intelligence, and disruptive technologies. And we have an amazing group of speakers today to help us explore and debate how artificial intelligence and other disruptive technologies will shape humanity and society in the decades ahead, and particularly how it's going to shape the issues of healthcare and well-being. I'm especially grateful to the Chopra Foundation and my friends, Dr. Deepak Chopra and Punacha, who have really created this opportunity for MetaAI to hopefully serve as a catalyst for people around the world to help create a shared new vision of the future and how we use these technologies in our lives going forward. And I think what we have to understand, with billions being invested into AI and biotech companies, we're witnessing the birth of a new revolution in technological and biological innovation. And today's summit hopes to explore and debate the ethical frameworks that countries, leaders, companies, and startups should explore around the issues of artificial intelligence as we embark upon this new chapter in humanity. So thank you all for being a part of this journey, and I'm going to turn it over to Punacha.
Thank you, Sharad. I think I'm Punacha, the CEO of the Chopra Foundation. And this has been quite a journey, Sharad. I think a couple of months ago, we really wanted to look at AI and what AI has for humanity. I think we are at a very unique cross-section as humans, where AI can be used for good. And what came out of the pandemic, we're going to talk about different topics today. I'm really excited to hear Dr. Dava Newman, MIT Media Labs director, who's pioneered space research. We could ask her what she thinks about the space travel. We all have our dear friend, Dr. Deepak Chopra, who's really pioneered consciousness, AI and consciousness. What does it mean to the future of work? What does it mean to the future of well-being? To talk about that, we have a series of experts today. We have a panel on digital therapeutics. What does that mean coming out of the pandemic, especially with biomarkers today? How do we measure, move from quantified self to quantified health? What does continuous monitoring do today? And I think that's a big topic.
Absolutely.
So we will have Dr. Daniel Kraft, who's really pioneered medical health. We'll have Rajiv Kaul in biotech technology. We'll have Dr. Srini Pillai in anxiety. And then moving on, I think we will kind of get into a little bit more deeper into looking at disease management with Naveen Jain and Deepak having a fireside chat. We also have an interesting conversation on the future of mental health and AI, looking at some of this, I would say, the entrepreneurs who are building technology, like WonderTech coming out of Singapore with Wendy Wu and Sanjeev Sharma from Canada. And then we have Soul Machines later in the afternoon,
Absolutely,
talking about humans, and then Professor Bill, right, from USC.
And both of, Professor Will Swartwad, who is going to be talking to us about virtual beings, and Mark Sager, whose company Soul Machines is really, pioneering in this space. I think we're going to see the fusion of artificial intelligence creating, virtual humans that will interact with us in ways that we can't even possibly begin to understand today, as they understand us in ways that are very different than even how humans can understand us today. So both are going to be making amazing presentations, and I think your jaws will hit the floor as mine did, hopefully, when you start to see.
And the way we did this, we are truly in startup mode, right? So we are a nonprofit, so we are all about, this whole thing has been kind of put together by a very lean, mean teams, but we're making sure all the content is available on our YouTube channel, on Chopra Foundation, Chopra Well, and it's available for free. And our goal with AI is to really champion public awareness and education for good.
Absolutely.
I think I'm actually kind of excited about today's conversation. One, because I think several years ago, Deepak started this whole thing on digital Deepak.
Right.
And I think I'm going to show a clip sometime today during the break.
Yes.
I actually have it on Jimmy Fallon when he was talking about digital Deepak, and now looking at how we can even measure our conversation with voice AI,
right,
and figure out stress, anxiety, and not really have to wait 6 months to see a doctor, but real time. When Eric Topol said, the patient will see you now, I think we're very close to it today. Right?
And on the same side, I think while these technologies are coming, we have to ask ourselves, are we really ready for them?
Right.
Because there's a level where you can see the downside, and you can see the dangers of such technology. You can see that the fears of an AI being able to understand and engage with you better than a human being ever could creates a lot of, misalignment if their focus is purely on keeping you engaged versus on maximizing you as a human being. And I think that some of these dangers that we're going to try and debate with our panelists today and debate with our colleagues
Ethics of AI
are the
absolutely.
ethics. Yeah. And
And
are
with
we
data.
moving fast enough? Right. And how do you program an AI with a sense of universal ethics when we as a society have so many different ethics ourselves, both on a national level and an international level? We are very different in terms of how we think culturally. So how do we actually design what is this new, perhaps most potentially disruptive technology to align with our own ideologies,
Right.
when we haven't figured that out ourselves? So I think these are going to be great debates and great discussions.
So to kick it off, I would like to bring on stage Dr. Deepak Chopra, a dear friend. He's in the waiting room right now. So we will actually bring him live for him to share his vision. And I think we should be... Deepak, can you hear us?
Yes. Can you hear me? Can you see me? Am I here?
Absolutely. I'm actually going to bring you on stage and you're ready to go.
Hi, Deepak.
Hey, hi, Sharad. Great to see you. You look young and vital and joyful as ever.
Thank you.
He's trying to create his own avatar right now.
Yeah, it's not the real me. It's the artificial being.
Reverse aging candidate here.
I wish everyone knew there's a difference between me and my name, but there we are. So very grateful to be on this launch of this amazing conference. I'm very grateful to Punacha Machaya for having put it together, and to you, Sharad, for having put it together at such short notice. And I think what we're going to do today is see a vision for basically reinventing humanity. And I hope sincerely that includes resurrecting our collective soul. So I'd like to start off just by saying that there's a lot of fear. And you mentioned also, Sharad, that there are problems with AI, as with any technology, can be used for either divine purposes or diabolical purposes. But one thing is for sure, the progress of technology cannot be halted. The progress of advanced technology, including artificial intelligence, cannot be halted. That's a Darwinian principle. It's part of our evolution, and it's part of human evolution. And those who adapt to it and make good use of it will be the next humans. I like to think of them as meta-humans. And those who don't will, according to Darwinian principles, will either become irrelevant or possibly even extinct. So I'd like to, in the next 10 minutes, share my vision of what I see as the future of artificial intelligence. And I would like to start by just defining it as simulating human intelligence through machines and computers. I think that's the best definition we can think of. Artificial intelligence is simulation of human intelligence by machines and computers. As we speak right now, artificial intelligence includes expert systems that simulate human judgment and make decisions. Artificial intelligence is also engaged, as we speak already, in natural language processing. As I think Punacha mentioned earlier, in speech recognition, voice tone recognition, which correlates with everything that's happening in your biology, including your heart rate variability, your stress levels, inflammatory responses, etc. Artificial intelligence also includes machine learning and reasoning involving choosing the correct algorithms. So even the choice of correct algorithms is part of the evolution of machine learning. And as machine learning evolves, it is also learning to fine-tune its own algorithms. So algorithms that evolve through I wouldn't use the word self-awareness, but I would use the word self-regulation and evolution of the fine-tuning of that self-regulation. AI is even currently, or at least in the near future, going to be capable of predicting human behavior and understanding what philosophers of science and consciousness call theory of mind, which means understanding emotions and enhancing self-awareness. AI is not conscious in that it is not capable of subjective feelings, only the simulation of feelings. But that goes a long way in understanding feelings. From a philosophical point of view, there's no contradiction between AI and natural intelligence. As I said before, AI is an extension of our natural intelligence. So as we move into the future, I think certain predictions can be made even now in the present. Let me share with you what I think these might be. Firstly, a complete shift in the workplace, where everything we do now and in our office environments will soon become redundant, and all of us will be connected to the cloud, the master cloud, and we will never be disconnected from what I call data, information, knowledge, but hopefully not stop there, go all the way to wisdom traditions and see how we can move from data to information to knowledge to wisdom. There will also be immediate automation in the following areas. Number one, conglomeration of information technologies, which will also include VR, virtual reality, and augmented reality. Now, I have a take on this in that we are already living in a simulation, that what we call the planet and what we call biological species on that planet are already part of a bigger simulation in a cloud, which is beyond space and time. But that's a whole another discussion. As we move into the future, there will be not only conglomeration of information technologies, but the creation of food with AI-assisted technologies, including 3D printing for any kind of food that you want. There will be new transportation systems involving drones and transportation through automation on land, air, and sea. There will be new modes of energy production and the creation of new matter without extracting minerals or products from the earth. We will be creating new materials through digital technology and even new codes for programming DNA. Of course, there will be 3D printing. It's already happening, including the printing of clothes, the printing of food, and ultimately, through AI, almost anything. 3D printed furniture, buildings, aircraft, anything that you can think of will be created through digital technologies and artificial intelligence. There'll be automation services in hotels, restaurants, and entertainment facilities. There will be the writing of new codes for DNA, using DNA and microRNA technologies, not only for the creation of vaccines for pandemics, but also for cancer and other illnesses, both acute and chronic. There will be new ways to reduce inflammation and tackle biological correlations of mental distress. And there will be new treatments for cancer coming from the digital world, and new treatments for Alzheimer's and inflammatory diseases. One of the things that has fascinated me all my life is the reversal of aging and anti-aging technologies, including the understanding of genetic clocks and much more. Anti-aging strategies, from shifting perception of the physical body to shifting perception of the meaning of aging, to shifting perception from matter to energy to information to consciousness, and ultimately creating a new era of not only longevity and lifespan, but health span. No matter what happens in the future, ultimately, human beings also have something called existential anxiety, the fear of old age, infirmity, and death. And as we understand deeply the nature of consciousness, that everything we create, including these new technologies, artificial intelligence, VR, augmented reality, transportation systems, it all comes from human imagination in human consciousness. So understanding consciousness is a very important aspect of the future of technology. As far as my field of health, healing, biology is concerned, I see AI creating a future of well-being that is personalized, that is predictable, that is preventable, that involves your participation, that is a process, but also that embarks on a new journey for humans and for the medical profession to move from treatment to healing. In my profession as a doctor, we never use the word healing. We use the word practice. And so I'm asking all my colleagues, medical doctors and healers, to move from practice to healing. So finally, I just want to say a few words about the ethics which was brought up earlier, because any technology can be used for diabolical purposes. And I'm holding in my hand here a very little piece of art that goes into self-realization through the practice of yoga. And so the first two things in any embarking of any journey to self-awareness and self-realization is actually what are called the yamas and niyamas. And these are very practical codes that allow us to harness our creativity and our vision, so we go beyond human stories and even lofty ideas to archetypal awareness and ultimately transcendence and liberation from all suffering. So at the cost of bringing Vedanta and yoga to all of you on a technology conference that is dealing with only artificial intelligence, I do want to once again emphasize the difference between data, information, knowledge, and wisdom. What we call data is empirical facts and statistics. But what we don't realize is that they are not statements of truth. They are just modes of knowing and experience in human consciousness. But data is where we begin. Data leads to information. Information theory defines information as the resolution of uncertainty. Once there's the resolution of uncertainty as information, then we have knowledge. We use that for a purpose. Knowledge is using information for a purpose. Now, as I said, purpose can be divine or diabolical. With the same technologies, you can create a more peaceful, just, sustainable, healthier, and joyful world, but you can also create disasters and extinction of species. So I'm going to mention the 5 yamas and the niyamas and why the yamas and niyamas have to be a crucial part of the future of our evolution and also the future of technology. Yamas, these are codes or principles for interaction with the world, what we call interpersonal interaction. Ahimsa, non-violence or presence of peace. Satya, always defending the truth. Asteya, non-covetousness. Brahmacharya, maximum use of spiritual energy for our evolution. Aparigraha, non-clinging, non-grasping. And then the niyamas, which are relationship with the self. Shauch, mental and physical hygiene. Santosh, contentment and fulfillment. Tapas, discipline in maximizing life and the nourishment of life. And finally, Ishwar Pranidhana, surrender to the mystery of formless existence, that without which nothing can be experienced. So whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we touch, taste, smell, imagine, conceptualize, think about, ultimately comes from our formless being. And the more we can use technology for understanding the true self beyond all human constructs and move from human to meta-human, unless we do that, we will have failed our karmic destiny. With that, I'd like to close my remarks. I feel very fortunate in helping launch this great global, I would say, cooperative effort, which is leading to a new science. It's called the science of emergence. Maximum diversity, shared vision, complementing each other's strengths, total transparency, no secrets, and joy and happiness. If technology can help us create a joyful, energetic body, loving, compassionate heart, clear, creative, imaginative, reflective mind, and lightness of being, then I'm here to serve. Thank you, Sharad, and thank you, Punacha, for giving me this opportunity to share my vision. And once again, count me here to
Thank you,
serve.
Deepak.
Thank you, Deepak.
That was inspiring, Deepak. Thank you so much.
I'm actually going to bring in Dr. Dava Newman. Hello, Dr. Dava. How are you?
Excellent. So nice to see you all. Hello.
It's such an honor and privilege, I think, to join us at the Meta AI Summit. The last time you spoke at our summit as Sages and Scientists in Bentonville, and a lot has changed. And I guess this week is an amazing week. We have now in space as travel has become a reality. So with that, we wanted you to kind of share your vision, the future of AI. And Deepak, do you want to say anything before we kick?
No, it's a great honor to have Dava here. She's a pioneer in this whole area, designed the software for the landing at Mars and much more. So I'm very honored to be here listening to her.
Oh, it's my incredible honor. Will I be able to show my slides and
Absolutely.
take you on a trip from space to Earth, if possible?
Here you go, Dava.
Let's see. I see myself. I don't. Let's see. Excellent. I think we have the technology. Bear with me here. Entire screen of the window. Let's see. It's always about the technology, right? So
infinite flexibility is a key to immortality, especially with technology.
Exactly. Okay. I'm clicking. Please give me a little feedback. I think you see me. You don't need to see me. I want you to see my slides, right? If I click there, how's that?
We don't see the screen as yet. Share screen.
You don't see. I have my slide deck up.
Okay, I see it now. Yes, ready to go. Good to
you
go.
See it? Maybe there's a delay.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Perfect.
So glad to be with you, everyone. I'm David Newman, the director of the MIT Media Lab and the Apollo program professor. So the comments about it's a good week for space. I had the great pleasure to be NASA's deputy administrator, and we take the overview effect. You know, from space we can see Earth and all of our living systems and all of humanity, and we're one world. We're united. So it's my great pleasure to talk to you today briefly about what we call the Earth Intelligence Engine in this incredible MetaAI conference symposium gathering. I want to tell you a little bit about some of the research and some of the visions we have for the Earth, and inviting you all to join to tackle climate change with artificial intelligence. Is my sound coming through okay? And the visuals, I just want to do a check.
It's absolutely perfect, Dr. Newman.
Wonderful. Thank you. Here's the status. We have 280 gigatons of CO2 left. Tick, 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 tick. We have seven years left, ticking down in terms of for the Paris Accord. We know what happens when we reach 2 degrees Celsius in temperature. What are we all going to do about this? So this is for all of us. We all have something to do. We can all act every day. The surgeon, the clock is ticking. Again, 7 years until we reach our budget. We don't need to talk about 2100. We don't really need to, talk about 2050. We need to talk about the urgency of this decade. Tick, tick, tick. It's been quite a year, a lot to celebrate in terms of life and new modes of learning and sharing and reaching the word virtually. But when it comes to climate, what are we doing? Each person, I'm an aerospace engineer, I'm a rocket scientist, and I'm making oxygen on Mars today. And I love that, but that's not enough. I wake up every day and say, what can I do? What can I do to help planet Earth and all the living beings on Earth? Well, as an engineer, we want a platform. We want an open platform. Think of this as an Earth's operating manual, coined from Bucky Fuller. Earth didn't come with an operating manual. That's what we need. We have one for our cars and all of our technology. What about an operating system for Earth so we know how to move forward, and we know how to move forward with compassion and empathy for, again, all living beings, humanity, and all living beings. So here, it's a time frame. We work, and in terms of our artificial intelligence work, we use machine learning, physics-informed neural networks, and GANs, generative adversarial networks for visualization. Give you some references there. We'll just highlight some of the work today. If we want to know about the weather, the extreme weather, we have to work in the hourly time scale. But forecasting, that takes you to a week in advance. We want to know what the weather's going to be like this weekend. And we think very far out, seasonal forecasting, taking all of the data through artificial intelligence, serving that up, getting smarter in our climate models, using our artificial intelligence. And we're also working for decades out. How will our oceans survive with the taking up all the energy, absorbing all the CO2? So that time frame, that temporal nature of the work is quite important. Specifically, we're using artificial intelligence across our systems. In the oceans, we're diving deep, literally diving deep with our data and AI to look at life and life forms, and to monitor and to see what's changing, curating petabytes of data a day. In the atmospheres, everyone thinks about climate change and usually think about the atmosphere or carbon dioxide emissions. But all of our systems are interrelated. Coastal flooding, moment for all of the tragic flooding happening right now. A moment for all the people. Could we predict these terrible floods that just happened in Europe? Can we predict what's happening in North America? Can we predict what's happening in India and all over the world? I think we can. I'm an optimist, so that's why we're hard at it. We're really hard at it, because if we can give you predictive images through artificial intelligence and our GANs, then people can get out of the way. We can work with city planners and keep people out of harm's way. So that's where the AI comes in and our techniques. Looking at land, I'll show you a little bit of the data from the land. And looking in the cryosphere, what's that? The future Arctic and Antarctica. Because of the Greenland ice sheet goes that 6 meters of sea level rise for the Earth. And Antarctica, one of my favorite places in the world as an explorer, as an analog for our space travels, the Antarctic ice sheet, it's melting. It's melting quicker than our climate models predict. We have to understand this better because it's major, major implications for sea level rise. A little bit deeper, I just want to show you this link to share with people. We're sharing all the data. What we've done is we've served up machine learning ready data sets. If you're in the AI space, you know how hard it is to deal with the petabytes of data from NASA, from the European Space Agency. So go to severe.mit.edu. That's machine learning. That's AI ready data sets for climate and weather. Super resolution and a lot of images there, image to image translation, so it's intuitive. But all of the data is freely available, and we'd love for people to use it. We use it for our nowcasting for the climate and weather. Taking you to Bolivia. Every 2 seconds, we're losing a football field of our rainforest. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, football field, football field, football field. That quickly. You can see the Amazon. We can see from our satellite data just how quickly we're losing the vital signs of Earth. We need the Amazon forest to live. We need the oceans as people. We need the Amazon. So we're monitoring this. So again, some of our data to share. This is not great data, but we can change that. We can change human behavior. I hope we can. I hope we can all change it together. We're using our artificial intelligence to monitor. We fly drones, artificial intelligence, to create, again, an open access data species. It's for the Amazon, it's for rural villages, it's for the world. So, and we can really help monitor and share these data. All of our work is open on open platforms. We have a simulator. You know what I really want is, a pocket. I need a pocket. I need this in my pocket. I need my cell phone in my pocket. So a fast pocket climate calculator. The models are quite extensive. Most people don't understand them, climate models or the artificial intelligence. It takes years and years of study and expertise. But we just want to serve that up. Put it in your pocket. En-ROSE, this is from Professor John Sturman, to have the negotiations. This is co-creation. This is a simulation. We can show you what alternative energy, what alternative paths look like. And everyone can be an ambassador. There's training, there's online training, so everyone can literally have this at their fingertips. When we get to the deep climate models and predictions, they're too computationally expensive. They take weeks and weeks to run, a lot of our models. So how could we make them faster? How could we run them at lower resolution, but much, much, much faster? Again, to get people the information they need. The goal is almost in real time. So I'll show you an example from some of our flood data. Give that to you as close to real time as we possibly can. We team up with the world. We team up with NASA and Google and everyone else. This is a big ask. We're trying to create a digital twin of Earth, a complete digital copy. I saw a pretty good AI of Deepak last time we were together in person, but the digital AI was something else. So we're trying to do that so that everyone can have Earth, literally digital Earth, in your fingertips. That's a large team, incredible folks from all over the world participating in that. You can enhance the models. We use statistical models to give you a little bit about the physics-based models. When we don't have radar, it kind of looks like what's on the left there. And then if we add different layers of data, then we can really give information that we call nowcasting in real time. There's a shout out to the incredible team we got to work with. And then again, if you go to this website, it's the Earth Intelligence Engine is our flood generator. Now, these floods haven't happened yet, but we've taken the AI and the training data from past floods, so we can predict what the future will look like. We want to give you that future satellite imagery in your hands, so for city planning, to get people out of harm's way, to understand what would happen. And we work all over Earth, as I said, all over Earth systems. Next step is we're concentrating on the Arctic, because such urgency that our ice sheets, both in Greenland and Antarctica, are melting quickly. And then finally, it's a call to action through our Earth DNA ambassadors. Please jump on that website, earthdna.org. We're training the next generation, anyone. It can be in school, elementary school, high school, university students who I teach here at MIT, or just the public, to be our Earth ambassadors. It's a 10-week training program, and the climate, we call it Climate 101. The material, that's easy. People get climate, the truth, consequences, myths, the future. But in our 10-week ambassador program, we teach leadership and storytelling and communication and negotiation, because we know the future is with the young people. So a call out to our existing ambassadors and anyone who's listening who wants to join us. We look forward to that. That's such a pleasure to be with you. And hopefully I'm back with you in person. Let's see. I'm going to close the slide deck and hopefully you can see me.
Yes, we can see you. Thank you. That was truly inspiring, Professor. And, I think also terrifying. I mean, to hear some of these things, and that, if I heard you right, the fact that we are losing a football field of the rainforest every 2 seconds is just one of the most horrific thoughts to think about in the world today. And I'd ask you just to put it in a larger context. When we think about AI, and when you think about the future of the Media Lab, do you believe that there would be a point in time within the 7-year time horizon that we've identified that we would be able to create an AI sophisticated enough, an AGI perhaps, or something that could actually reverse some of this in a very direct impact way? Or is our destiny to really also become a multi-planetary species right now and figure out a way that we can really find a way to thrive? How do you look at that problem?
Great. Mars is not plan B, in my opinion. We will become an interplanetary species, and that's what I work on every day. And making oxygen on Mars, that's for fuel, because that's the explorer in me. But this is climate and AI for planet Earth. It's urgent. We all have a part to play in this. And that's what we're trying to do, just to empower. You said it was terrifying and horrifying. I'm an optimist, but the action has to be now. That's just the scientific data that I showed you. And that's because of human activity. So now we have a choice to change human behavior, change ours. And it's just something little, because when we scale up by billions of people, then that's my hope. So we have to look at the data, we have to look at the science. That's just fact. Now, let's all collectively, and through collective grassroots, that we change this. We envision the Earth we want in 10 years, and we make it happen. Surely we can get to the moon, and we can get to Mars. Surely we can focus on spaceship Earth.
Deepak, do you have any questions or thoughts that you'd like to add?
Just one thought, and that is, we have all the science, we have all the technology. Dr. Dava has given us a glimpse of how it's possible to reverse climate change, but we don't have an emotional connection to those facts. We don't recognize that the air is our breath, the land, the earth is recycling as our body, that the rivers and waters are our circulation, and that even the atoms in our body are a gift from the stars. So this word environment is alienating to me. We have a personal body, we have an extended universal body. They're both equally ours. We need a new emotional and spiritual story given those facts. Otherwise, there will be no change in behavior.
That's a question on the planet. Planet travel, right?
And how do you feel, Professor, just watching this past week where we did see, Jeff Bezos obviously had his successful mission, and just recently we saw Richard Branson have his as well. There must be an immense sense of pride just also seeing how this community has come together, the achievements we're making in this step. And do you feel that we're very close to the age where we're going to see a lot of civilian space travel happening very soon in our lifetimes?
I think so. It's been a great week, and I'm so happy for the opportunity to celebrate what really happened. And that's humanity pushing ourselves, again, beyond where we think we can go. And it's not about some billionaires going to space. It's about the investment. It's about investment of both governments and private folks, public-private partnerships. That's what it's all about. We've been celebrating some flights this week, but did you know that United Arab Emirates has an orbiter on Mars? We call it MOM. I love it. The Mars Observatory Mission. The NASA has, we call them assets. We have Perseverance rover. We have our great helicopter. Why all those things? It's not that it's frivolous. It's not that it's frivolous to go into space. It's because we study the Earth. The number one thing about exploring the solar system is what it brings back to us, our reflection, our deep appreciation of Earth. Mars isn't plan B. It's great to push our technology, and we'll have some people out there. That's not the point. The point is what it teaches us about ourselves and our life on Earth, and protecting Earth and living the best lives we can here. That's what it teaches me. It's the celebration. It's the decades of investment, government, world governments, helping the private sector. Now the private sector is taking it where it's going to be commonplace. Yeah, lots of us are going to be in low Earth orbit. And the reason I'm excited is because we're going to look down on Earth and we're going to be spiritually, mentally transformed. It's called the overview effect. Deepak knows to try to put people in virtual reality and have this experience so that everyone can go through the transformation. But I promise you, if you ever find space, that's the number one thing we're going to take away. We have to protect this earth. We're all in this spaceship together.
Thank you, Dr. Newman. Thank you, Deepak. So we will start our next session in 5 minutes, and it's really going to dive deep into the whole area of digital therapeutics. Amazing work being done in MIT Media Labs and effective computing. With the age of biomarkers, continuous monitoring, what can humanity expect for improving and transforming our well-being? So look forward to joining the panels very soon, and stay tuned.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.